Hi guys, it's Hannah from Montane and I'm out on this beautiful, hot, sunny summer's day just up in the Ullswater Valley. I've got Glenridding and Helvellyn up on my right hand side and it's an exceptionally beautiful day. Fitting that I'm here as well because I'm going to take you through all of my packing for the Lakeland 100. So I'm going to take you through the mandatory kit list, how I'm going to be loading it into my running vest for the day. It is the same kit list for the 100 as it is for the 50, nothing changes. But then I'm also going to take you through my drop bag, how I'll be packing that, what I'll be packing and how I'll be prioritising my time when I get into Dalemain. So Dalemain is 60 miles in, I'm probably going to be feeling it by then and I don't really know what state I'm going to be in when I get there. I love running big ultras and I love the unpredictability of it, so I might run in feeling great, I might run in having a really hard time, and I'm going to prepare for every eventuality. And that's what I'm going to put into my drop bag. I love having a drop bag as well because it means that sane, not tired Hannah is kind of giving tired, fatigued Hannah a bit of a hand. So I know that once I've got that, I've picked it up, I've got a bit of a priority list and I know what I need to do when I get there. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to take you through my running vest, everything I'm going to be putting in there, and then I'll take you through the drop bag afterwards. So this is all the mandatory kit, plus a couple of little extras. So all of this needs to be carried with you from the start of the run right up until the finish. Even though I have a drop bag, there might be things that I make like-for-like swaps, like clothing or waterproof jackets, but I will have my mandatory kit list on me at all times. I cannot drop any of that over at Dalemain. So this is the Gecko 5 Plus. Now on previous years I have taken the 12. Now whilst that gives me a bit of room to work with, what it actually means is that I do fill the 12. So I take loads of extra kit that I don't need. So the benefit of having that drop bag is that I then do have that place to drop a few of those bits in. So it's a bit of a squeeze, but I've had some practice and I know that it all goes in. All of my long runs that I've done over the last few months have also included all of this mandatory kit too. So I'm really familiar with the weight and the feel of the pack. So I'm going to start in the zipped compartment of the Gecko. So this is where I'm going to stick all of my emergency pieces. So if I get stuck in a situation where I'm injured and I've got to wait for some help, then I'm probably going to be taking my bag off anyway. So that I'm going to put an extra dry bag into it just to seal all that in, keep everything protected from the elements, because it's probably not going to look like this on the day. It's probably going to be absolutely hammering it down. So I need to have that extra dry bag in there too, just to protect all of those pieces. So I'm going to pop that in first. So the first thing I'm going to put in is my spare layers. So not spare layers as in these are going to be what I take out if I get cold. These are my emergency pieces. So they have to be full length, so a full length sleeve, full length legs, and that is what you would take out and put on if you were injured and had to wait for help. If you are taking these out because you get too cold, then you haven't packed enough spare layers. So I do also put these in an additional sandwich bag because then I can squeeze all of the air out and it takes up much less room without this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to put in is this first aid kit. So it does have to include blister packs, dressing, tape and some gauze. I've also put in some antihistamine because it's the summer, but I also put in some personal medication in there too. So the next thing you're going to pop in is your foil blanket. So I take a little Life Systems thermal bag because I find them a bit more protective than a foil blanket, and if I was to get into real trouble then I know I need something reliable. So the next thing I'm going to put in there is my spare batteries for my head torch. So I actually on the day will end up taking a spare head torch because I do just think there are other things that could go wrong with a head torch. So this is what I'm going to use to represent my spare head torch. Emergency food is the next thing that needs to go in, so this needs to be a minimum of 400 calories or 2 Mars bars, or as I've found, a bag of chocolate raisins. This is going to be really hard not to eat these because these are one of my favourite snacks, but these are in there just in case, again, if I get injured and I've got to sit and wait for help, those are my emergency food. So the other thing I'm going to load into this bag, even if the weather is really good, I'm still going to take a spare fleecy layer. So this is our Alley micro fleece, so it's really lightweight, really packable, but this isn't part of my emergency layers. Those are packed in there already. But when it gets cold in the night, I know I'm going to need something else to chuck on. And then we're going to seal it up. So the last thing I'm going to pop into this pocket just above this dry bag is my waterproof trousers. Now I'm not putting them in this dry bag because if the weather is absolutely lashing it down and I need to get to them, I want them quite quickly and I don't want to open up this dry bag and get everything else wet. So these are our podium pants. They come with their own little stuff sack and they're a really handy size just to chuck into the back of here. And that is that main compartment all filled up. So next I'm going to move into this stretch pocket right in the top. So this is a really good quick access pocket. So it's very generously sized, it's really big. It actually doesn't come into the literage size of the Gecko, so that 5+ is just that zip compartment. All of the other pockets are additional. So my waterproof jacket is our spine. So minimum for waterproof jackets for this Ultra, it has to be a minimum of 10,000 millimeters hydrostatic head. All of the seams have to be taped. So I'm taping my spine because I know if it's lashing it down, this is going to be a really good protective layer for that. So the other bits that I'm going to pop in here are my other spare pieces of clothes. So my gloves, so I've got some little liner gloves just to give a bit more comfort and protection if the weather looks like it's going to be hammering it down all weekend. I'll also put some little waterproof overmitts in there as well, but also my buffer's going to go in there. I will be wearing my visor on the day even if I start in the rain, but in the night I might want to swap to something a little bit more comfortable, so that goes in there too. On the mandatory kit list in there is a hat as well, but your buff can count as your hat. So behind these main pockets, there is a really large bladder pocket. So I don't take water in a bladder, I tend to take them in soft bottles that I carry on the front of the vest. So in this bladder instead, I'm going to put in the map and the road book. So you will get these at registration. So that's a really good pocket as well because that also just stops to help bits from the rest of my bag digging into the back of my back. But it also means that I can get to that map and take it out really quickly if I do get lost. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to these stretchy side pockets in the hip fins. So these are huge and this is where I keep most of my food. I will have a little bit in the front pockets as well, but in here this is where I'm going to put a few of my gels and Torque energy chews. They go on this side. So in my other side pocket, that's where I'm going to put in my rehydration tubes, my sun cream and my head torch. These other pieces will just sit in the front so that I've got very quick access to them while I'm on the go. I did float the idea of putting a head torch in one of the main back pockets, and I might well do that on the second day, but with the Lakeland 100 starting at 6 o'clock in the evening, I know I'm going to get this out within about 3 hours, so that needs to be in a really quick access pocket where I don't need to stop and take off my bag to get to it. Okay, moving around to the front, so on these shoulder straps you have 4 very generously sized pockets. You've also got 2 little dump pockets here, and that's where I put my rubbish until I get to a bin. But in these 2 zip pockets, that is where I'm going to put my water. So that's a litre of water in the front, but it's not just water, they're also filled with Torque electrolytes, and that's because if we're on a day like this, or actually even if the weather's lashing it down, you're out for a very long time, sweating, losing salt, you need to put that back in. So in these 2 pockets just above the water bottle pockets, that is also where the remainder of my food and my compass is going to go. So the other thing that you will need is a fully charged mobile phone, so that will probably just stretch into one of my other side pockets. But it's just good to note there's not a huge amount of signal while you're out on the course, but it does come in little pockets. So I switch my phone onto aeroplane mode and then I will just turn it on just in case I come off course and I need a bit of help. So these are the draw cords that we have for the poles. So I've actually moved that. Initially, when you buy a Gecko, they are attached to the little webbing loops on this side. Now, because I like my poles sat on my back and not down the side, I've moved them round. So my intention with my poles is to only take them out when I really need them. I don't want to start using them 100% of the time, but just to give me a bit of extra boost when I'm going up these massive, massive mountain passes, or later on in the race when I need an extra little boost. So the other thing that I haven't brought with me is a solid mug. Now it has to be solid, it can't be collapsible in any way because you're going to be putting hot food into there. Pasta, soups, hot drinks, that's what's going to go into that mug. So it needs to be sturdy. So that's going to go into my stretchy top pocket here and it'll just sit alongside my waterproof, and I'll probably put my buff and my gloves just into there as well just to save on a bit of space. But I need it to be quick access. I want to reach behind and grab it quite quickly. I don't want to be fumbling and taking off my bag every single time I get into a checkpoint. Last thing on the mandatory kit list is a whistle. So in the Gecko packs, that just sits on the right-hand side zipped pocket where I've tucked my water in. But if you don't have a Gecko, you might find that you just need to buy an extra one just to pop in your bag. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be putting in my running vest for the Lakeland 100. So this is what my drop bag is going to look like. So the drop bags aren't a huge amount of space, but there's still definitely plenty of room for you to drop everything that you will need in at Dalemain. But it's vital to keep that list relatively short. You don't want to be overwhelmed with the kit when you get there. So for me, I work it like a priorities list. Like I said before, this is sane and well-rested Hannah giving tired and fatigued Hannah some jobs to do when she gets to Dalemain. That way I know I'm not going to be stuck in the checkpoint for too long and I just have a list to crack through. So my drop bag is being represented by my basket that I brought from home today, but it is just a big tie bag that you get at registration when you get to the Lakeland 100 reg. So the first thing I'm going to grab when I get to my drop bag is going to be my power bank, because I know I'm going to need to recharge potentially my watch and my head torch when I get in. So this is what I'm going to grab for first. Once I plug stuff in, I can just set it to the side and work on everything else. So the next thing I'm going to reach for is my Rumple travel blanket. So this is a really great size, packs down super tiny, and it's got a little cape clip, so you can clip it around your shoulders and you can use it hands-free. I think that's really great. I don't know what state I'm going to be coming into Dalemain. I don't know what the weather's going to be like. I could be quite cold, so it's nice just to have an extra layer to chuck over my shoulders while I work through the rest of it. Gives me a bit of privacy when I'm getting dressed as well. So the next thing on my priority list is to get clean and to get changed. So if the weather's like this, all of my clothes are going to be sweaty and salty. If it's lashing it down, then all of my clothes are going to be wet. So either way, I need a full spare change of clothes. So the first thing I'm going to grab is my packet of baby wipes that I've got to bring out with me, but those will be going into my drop bag as well. So I'm going to give myself a bit of a baby wipe wash, take off all my old clothes, give myself a wipe down, and then I've got a full change of clothes. So spare shorts or leggings, depending on what the weather looks like, spare underwear, bra, socks, and a spare top as well. So that's all going to go into that drop bag too. So staying on the vein of spare clothing, I might also want to change out my waterproofs depending on what the weather's looking like. So when I ran it back in 2019, it's some of the worst weather I've ever run in. So having a full set of waterproofs to change into at 60 miles will be completely invaluable. So the waterproof trousers are slightly thicker and slightly heavier than the podium pants that I've got in my running vest. In that as well, I also have a spare waterproof jacket for exactly the same reason. I will also be taking a spare buff, same reason, that other one's probably going to be wet through by the time I get into Dalemain. I'll also be taking a few straps and supports just in case. I don't envision having any joint issues by the time I get into Dalemain, but it is just good to have them there just in case. Whilst I'm freshening up, I'm also just going to take a little hairbrush, redo my hair while I get there, because if it's wet and I've put my hood up, then my ponytail tends to turn into one big dreadlock. So I'm just going to sort that out when I get to Dalemain. And the next thing is all of that food replen. So I'm fully anticipating having exhausted all my food sources when I get into Dalemain. Obviously there's plenty of stuff out on the course, but I also hope that I've been eating really well while I'm running and I've used all of those too. So plenty of talk gels, chews and flapjacks as well, just to top up the bag. So the final thing that goes in there, just to top up my first aid kit, is my personal medication. So with my cystic fibrosis, I have to take medication every 12 hours. So I'm just going to pop some spare tablets into that dry bag too and just top that up when I get there. But otherwise, that's everything that I'll be popping into my dry bag. Hopefully, whilst I've been sorting all that out, my watch and my head torch have recharged and I can just unplug that and pop those in my bag. I might well end up having to take my battery bank with me while I'm on the run. But it doesn't weigh too much, so it shouldn't be an issue. But that is my priority list. So get charged, get changed, get clean, get the shoes on, get fed, and go back out there. And hopefully see everyone back at the finish line at Coniston. So it's only 3 weeks away now. And actually by the time this video comes out, probably only 2 weeks away. But otherwise, that's it from me, and I will see you at the start line, you legends. Bye!